Uh, yeah, second day feels great. I mean, it's what you do it for, for um, the competitiveness, the game, like the season, So it's a great profession to get into, but ultimately you do it for the season, and so it's time. It's you enjoy the off season, you enjoy time away, but ultimately it's about getting the guys back together, building towards what you want to accomplish that particular season. And so just super excited to be back. I think the guys have a great energy about them, which is always easy early, so it just got to bottle that and make it last as long as we can. But it's a hungry group and joy to work with.
Defense like that. I know it's early, but they have it.
Yeah, I mean, you just like the competitiveness, the energy, guys making plays. So it's always up and down during training camp. There's always back and forth days. There's some days where, it's like you may look like a totally different defense based on maybe what you're installing. So you just try to go one day at a time, play those plays, get a little bit better, learn from them if there's mistakes, try to build on them if they're good. But it's always great when guys, go out there and make plays for sure.
What have you seen so far from RJ? A couple plays today.
Yeah, I mean, I see a young guy that is very has a great intent about him of what he wants to do, how he wants to get better. I think he's been well trained in his college career of just kind of how to play, like some instincts, and so competitive player in a competitive situation in that room that's got a good skill set, and look forward just to seeing kind of how that shakes out.
Justin, is there any sense that last year was last year, had a top ranked defense, but this year can we top that? Can we be better?
I think I operate on standards instead of expectations, and so I think that's our defense does that. It's like, how can we have a standard of how we want to play, and I think as long as a group we play the standard the way we want to play, we'll live with the results, whatever the final stats are, whatever. If we play to our standard, we'll live with whatever the final numbers show. I think when you start chasing those things and chasing expectations, you can get in your own way. So it's really just about the things that we think it takes to play good defense, that we uphold ourselves to that every day. We try to get a little bit better. And if we play that way and we play with that competitive mindset for however many games, I think we'll like where we're at the end of it.
When we talked about the corner competition in June, you said OTAs is more about execution and competition is really started in training camp. Only a couple days here, but what are you seeing from that room? Derwin said yesterday, it feels like we have a lot of guys that play, so where do you feel like that's at this point? The corner?
I think to be fair to the new guys, I think like through the install one more time, which is maybe 6 or 7 or 8 days worth, that I think to be fair to them, then it'll really ramp up from a competitive standpoint. There's still things that they're trying to just get really comfortable with that we do, that maybe the guys that were here have a better feel for just from having the rep equity. So I'm super excited just about the different types of guys we have, the competitiveness, the skill sets. I would say that it's still just a little bit in the wait and see with the competition part.
What's your philosophy as far as settling on, especially in the secondary, settling on a starting group that's going to play every week versus, you talk about having a basketball team being able to change pieces and being versatile in that way. How do you balance that? What's your philosophy?
My philosophy is to have everybody ready to play. And I just think back to if you look back at our depth chart from day 2 of training camp last year, and then all the different people that played in different spots and played major roles, I think you have to do it that way. I think you can get too dependent on a guy, or this guy plays this way, and then if he's not in there, it changes everything. We don't want to do that. We want to build a flexible, versatile defense that can win in any situation possible. Really, no matter who we have, no matter who they have, that we can do things to try to give ourselves the best chance to be successful. So, I think at the end of the day, that stuff, who are the best players, the players that play the best. And it's so early to see that so far. And then guys with different skill sets, when it's really close, I've always been a believer of 2's better than 1. So 2 guys playing in a game is better than 1 guy playing X amount of plays if they're really close in talent, skill set, whatever it may be.
Jesse, one of the guys I want to ask is about Tuli. How have you seen him grow from year one in the system to now? Year two, a lot more comfortability, getting used to it.
Yeah, I think you kind of use the word, and I've heard Coach say this. It's like you don't want a guy to be comfortable, but you also within a defense you can get more comfortable, and you can learn, and he knows exactly kind of what we want him to do, and then he also has a playmaking skill set about him too. So I think like the really good players, it's like, can they do what you want them to do, but do they also have that little magic where sometimes they go outside of the realm and make a play? And the really good, productive players, I think, have always been that way. And I think he can be that. I think he's done a great job just taking advantage of the opportunity. He doesn't put too much pressure on himself, but he knows that it's time, and he's really done that already. I mean, he's started a bunch of games here, so it's not completely new to him. But I'm really excited about where he's at and what he can do.
Taking the next role, as a little bit of a leader on the defense, what do you want to see from him?
I just want him to be himself. I think he's got a great personality. He's got a good vibe to him that guys like being around him. Guys like talking to him. Guys don't mind when he speaks every once in a while. And so he's ascending into that type of role, and ultimately just want him to be himself. And if he's the best version of himself, we'll be happy with what we get out of him.
Back to Daiyan for a second. Before you had to pick, during one of the breaks, you were at the board. Did you see that?
Yeah, we were talking about what happened on one of the 2-point plays. I mean, he's just so dialed in to wanting to be perfect every play. And I think when you chase, you're never going to be perfect, but he just really chased like execution and being in the right spot. And then when you do that, it allows you at times for your natural ability to take over. And it's another one. It's like, be where you're supposed to be, do what you're supposed to do, and then at times let your own ability go make plays. And later on, that's certainly what happened in that play.
With the junior, what are you specifically hoping to see from him? As camp progresses and the pads come on.
Just one that he's just back to what I think he can be, what he thinks he can be, what I know he can be, what he knows he can be, what we all think he can be, and just that consistency. And I think he's been great so far. I think he was great in OTAs. And so just building on it, not worrying about what's going on around him, focusing on himself, putting himself in the best position, and then letting all that stuff, let the competition shake out over the next, I think we're at 49, 50 days roughly till we play.
You guys had a rotation going early in the season, before injury struck with Daiyan, Denzel, and Junior. Obviously, Daiyan is in a different spot now than he was at that time last year. But just would you consider a rotation at that spot? Would you hope that someone between Denzel?
I think it's similar to the answer earlier. It's just like I think if there's more than one guy that can play a position and they're really close, and it's like, okay, what does this guy's best 25 plays look like and this guy's best 25 plays look like versus maybe one player's 50 plays. So I'm always about, it's different than a lot of people, but I just think like, there are guys that maybe graduate from that. Like, Daiyan is going into this year in a little bit different level of like, we don't want to take that guy off the field. But I think when there's other positions and maybe not in that realm, the more the better. So.
Speaking of Daiyan and kind of like the different role he has now, how have you seen that kind of breed into his confidence in the way he plays, knowing that he has a different kind of expectation or people look at him differently?
I think, the biggest thing that I think we want as a staff is just he knows that we believe in him, and he knows that, we just want him to be himself and be the best version. I do think, it's impossible as a human being not to hear like people talking about your expectations and all that, but that goes back to just play to your standard. And talked about it before, like if he just plays to his standard and keeps improving, all the other stuff will take care of itself. Him and Tuli are similar in that they've grown into a role now where people listen to him, and that just comes with being good players, being good workers. And so guys listen to him now, and he's taken that, he's a talker anyway, in a good way. He brings a lot of positive energy. He brings a great vibe to the room. He wants to be, him and Derwin and Khalil are very similar in that, like, they want to get every play right, and that's what you want. And I just want them to know that, like, it's not always going to be right. Just go play. And sometimes you overthink it trying to be perfect. And so just go play, let it fly. And if we just play to our standard, all those things, like individual-wise and stuff, take care of themselves.
How do you decipher what a standard is versus an expectation? How do you kind of like draw that line?
I think a standard can be graded, can be real. I think an expectation is like a hope or a wish that something happens, and a standard is concrete. And then especially if you hold them to that every day. So you can't say it's a standard and then not hold them to it, then it's not real. But I just think one's like fact and one's fiction. And if we can do that, I think we'll like where we're at.
What has Deshaun shown you since he got here?
Yeah, just a really good veteran that's been in a lot of different systems, knows how to play, got a really good demeanor, personality for that room, guys to lean on. And once again, I think that position, when pads come on, we'll see really where it's at. But so far, just really just A+ in what he's brought from a leadership standpoint, from an execution standpoint, his strength, his hands, his ability to play blocks. I think we'll like what we see when the pads go on.
How was Tito and Tier affected his welcoming into the team? And
Yeah, I think they've been great. I think that room is such a I think any D-line, I mean, you look at the Super Bowl even where they have guys, one guy left and got paid a ton of money. They got another guy that's probably going to get paid a ton of money. But it's still a rotation and still guys, multiple guys playing. I think that room has embraced that. And so the guys that were here, they know that if they do their job and they play at a level capable that they'll play. They also know that the new guys coming in, if they do that, they'll play too. So that's one of our deeper rooms as far as just guys that I think are going to be capable of playing the way we want them to play. So that's going to be interesting just to watch it shake out over the next few weeks.